Yo, we back at it again with another bang. Your boy for the culture, TV is back in the building and bringing y'all another banger. Today's video will be on the legendary OG Too Low. We're gonna be getting into a little bit of his career, him being on Rap A Lot, having music that he made, collaborating with a lot of OG artists that was on the label, and much more. Without further ado, y'all already know how we do on this channel. Get your wine, your drinks, your snacks, your smoke. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell to get notified every time I upload a video. Without further ado, let's get into this. Too Low is one of those underrated artists, if you ask me. People don't give it Too Low his props like they should, because he's known. Too Low is originally from Harlem, Clark, where everybody hailed from there, damn near. You had Mello, Steve, Walsness, Harvey Love, and many others. He was one of those little kids that didn't play. He had a mind of a 30-year-old and a 12, 10, 11-year-old body. He was the original Dennis the Menace, but except his name wasn't Dennis. He was a little kid with a reckless mouth and an outstanding attitude when it came to him rapping. And he was brutally honest to be such a little kid. Now, more like around this time, this was when little kids that was coming out rapping, they wasn't, they was kid friendly. Too Low comes out and he comes out cursing straight flat up. His rhythm was all there to be as young as he was, and people was like, who little kid is that? He started out with being homies with a whole bunch of OGs, including the late great AWOL of Black Monks. A video was put up some months ago, and AWOL commented, he was just setting the record straight. He was like, the fact that you're giving out is not true. Let me give you the real scoop. So he was breaking down a lot of history that we did not know on Too Low. He stated that if you spell Too Low backwards, it says Wall 2, which is basically AWOL but 2. And so he flipped it and gave him the name Too Low. He will go on to state that he taught Too Low how to rap and do his lyrics. He stated that he also helped him with D-Boy Chronicles. But let's back a little bit. Too Low was involved in a lot of situations because everybody was trying to get at this little kid because he knew how to rap. And his mentors, along with AWOL, was behind it all. Too Low stated in an interview that some kind of way a CEO who was in contact with Gangsta Nip, and Too Low stated that he managed DJ Screw. I'm not sure if that's Charles Washington. That's just what was said in the interview with Murder Master Music Show.
Don't nobody really know the story, man. I'm finna give it to you exclusively. It was a dude, man. It's funny. The dude, some kind of way, he ran across Gangsta Nip and started managing Gangsta Nip and Screw and all that stuff. The dude was kind of swabby, man. I was still 12, 13, so it's like some kind of way he got a hold of my contracts and stuff, and they got me in the courts with Rap A Lot.
Originally, he had the first album called Problem Child that never released. And the story behind that was because of the subject matter at hand. The topics that he was talking about was a little too vulgar for a little kid to be rapping about and to be putting out to the public. And they didn't think that should have been put out like that because he's such a little kid and people gonna, get feedback like, what this little kid doing rapping like that.
I actually had an album called Problem Child first. But wow, the amount of cursing in the subject matter at that age and that time, it was like, even with Rap A Lot being Rap A Lot, it was still like, wait a minute, we're going to pull the strings a tad bit.
Throughout this whole time, you would see Too Low in many videos. He was in the 6 Feet Deep video, Ghetto Boys. He was in an interview with Scarface when he was talking about the system and other subjects. He was almost always with Scarface. That was like Scarface's little brother. And everybody treated Tulo like, that's the little homie. Any of y'all bother him, y'all got to deal with us. But Tulo did his second album that was released, self-titled Funky Little Brother, in 1993. Now, if you ask me, man, this album is very underrated and is a huge classic if you really a down-hard Rap-A-Lot fan. That little kid from Rap-A-Lot was spitting them hard lyrics. He started working on that album, and of course, everybody on Rap-A-Lot welcomed him with open arms. There were a lot of people on this label by this time. You had Big Mello, Devin the Dude, Fifth Ward Boys, Harvey Love, Crazy C, Beto, N.O. Joe, and many others. Most of them came on Tulo's album and collaborated with him. When it came to production, that was no problem. Scarface, again, he was like his big brother, along with AWOL mentoring him. Also with DA from the Black Monks. Scarface helped produce a lot of tracks on this album, such as Lowdown, The Groove with Scarface, and Low Out. He also featured on his self-titled hit Funky Little Brother. Now, plot twist to that is there was a clean version and there was an uncut version. The clean version eventually wound up being put on his album Funky Little Brother, which you can barely hear him cursing or any of that. Is basically kid friendly. But the uncut version was put on Scarface's album The World Is Yours, and that's where you hear the uncut version, which of course they spelled it backwards for public purposes. Of course, around this time, album covers, song titles, they really couldn't use the word nigga on the text, so they spelled it backwards, which was Aggin, Funky Little Aggin. And if you listen to the song, man, Tulo was 12, 13. He's talking about grown man subjects. He was uncut and raw throughout this whole song. If you listen to the clean version, he says, "You can New Jack swing on my," and then it cuts over. But on Scarface version, he says, "You can New Jack swing on my nuts." And at this time, no kids were talking like this, and that was real gangster. He had a lot of awesome features on this album, such as one of my favorite songs, Growing Up Ain't Easy, featuring the legendary Devin the Dude. He also had the song called The Hood, featured the late great 3-2, which around this time he was working on the Black Monks. He had another track, which was a classic, called Coming Up, featured Too Clean, the Fifth Ward Juveniles, and many others. The album was recorded at Jungle Style Studios and Digital Services. This album, let alone, was a big blowout when it released. But throughout this whole music thing, he was still, being a kid and experimenting with life. Although he never released another album up under Rap-A-Lot.
Throughout that whole process and everything, it kind of had us tied up in litigations for a bunch of years. That's why no music ever came out on that end.
And they did the video for Funky Little Brother, and you see how crunk it was back then. The whole vibe was different. He rode in on this bike with his homie, and he was like, "Hey man, you just made me late for school. Mess around with you, I done missed the bell, and now we got to deal with the consequences." And you see him with his friends and classmates in the classroom rocking. He had the whole school out during the video shoot. I'm not sure if this was a school or some type of building. Just from my observation, it's a school. Someone had put in the comments in one of the music videos, because there's, somebody had released the low quality version of Funky Little Brother and the high quality somebody had put, it looked like Fondren Middle School. But you could also see in the video where he's getting kicked out and his teacher's putting him out because he's acting up and all that sorts. And then they call Scarface. He comes up there with his belt, and him and Scarface do like this duet type of thing. He's talking to him, Face is talking to Tulo, and Tulo's talking to him back and forth. And it was just so classic and legendary. Face is in the video doing him. Everyone's hyped and they're having a good time. Also see at the end of the video where they're hopping out of this car. It looked like he was actually driving it, but it was probably people up under the cars operating. I'm not sure how Jay and them used to do that back in the day. He also had connections with Too Short and got to be with him on different events. There's also a picture with him and a lot of OGs at Jay Prince's ranch. But he was still in the mix. Also in 1993, he was a part of DMG's album, and he was featured on the song Buck 'Em Down. He was on Ghetto Boys Till Death Do Us Part, Bring It On. Of course, that's why he wound up in the 6 Feet Deep video. And even though he never released another album up under Rap-A-Lot, it was kind of messed up that he didn't, because he had a lot of talent and still does. And he said around 95, 96, Priority tried to sign him to a record deal, but the problem was, at the time, Priority was Rap-A-Lot Records distributors. And of course, that wasn't going to work like that.
95, 96, I think Priority, it was Priority, they had tried to sign me to their label. But it was a conflict of interest because during that time period, Priority was Rap-A-Lot's distributor. They put the red light on that, and during that layoff, it was the streets before the rap, so it wasn't nothing to fall back into that lifestyle, man. Ever since then, it's just been in and out from behind the walls and, missing out.
He would tag along with Rap-A-Lot for the longest. You would see Fifth Ward Boys brought Tulo along with them a lot. For Scarface Platinum Party on Rap City, you see Tulo and Fifth Ward Boys on there looking fly and fresh in suits, diamond out, and looking real player. After that, Tulo got the chance to get on Youngster's album Throw Young Player. He got to be a part of Gots to Be Everything, featuring Den Den, Lil Flex, Lil James, and Solo D. Tulo stated in the interview that pretty much after all that Rap-A-Lot stuff, he just stayed going in and out between those prison walls and being in trouble. This was also stated by AWOL that he stated that Sonny was a real gangster and a hustler, and the street money came so easy for him, so we had setbacks that cost us deals and millions of dollars for him being locked down. And so basically what AWOL is saying, that they had a lot of opportunity chances, but Tulo was locked up so much that those deals wasn't able to happen. AWOL will go on to say that people try to downplay Jay and try to say that he messed over them, but he give them many chances and many eye openers and ideas. Be like, don't just spill all your money at one time. He said we was young, having money and doing fucked up shit with it, and that's all. LOL. He tried to tell the artists the best moves to make with your money, like investing in property and doubling up your money so you can live off your interest. Don't overspend your money, but let it grow. But they didn't want to listen and thought he was trying to control their careers and control their lives. And their money, once they spent it, when they fucked it off, then he's a crook and now he owes them more. But I'm pretty sure that wasn't the case with Tulo. I'm not really sure. But yeah, throughout Tulo's rest of his career, he wouldn't go back to Rap-A-Lot and record any more music on there. Decades later, he would still, be doing music and stuff, but it wouldn't top when he was on Rap A Lot, and he had that push behind him. But times have changed and technology is different. As of now, there's no word on where Tulo is. The last I heard, he was locked up and he was behind bars. He had just came home in 2018, and they had threw him a welcome home party, and I'm guessing he went back to jail. I'm not sure. For y'all who know Tulo personally, put your comment in the section below. But yeah, he has many connections with a lot of OGs. Everybody knows him. On down from Devin, Lil O, Wood, Icy Hot, Big Bug, Bun B, Zero, and many others. Tulo is a legendary artist and contributes so much to the rap history and the rap empire that it has lasted a lifetime and it will never be forgotten. His Funky Little Brother album is still a classic, and your boy still plays still to this day. But yeah, I hope y'all liked this video as much as I did. I'm still having the bangers coming back to back. Stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell to get notified every time I upload a video. And your boy gonna always be here. It's gonna have that good quality content that's gonna bring your eyes and ears to the rear. And I'm out this joint. Much love to the OG Tulo. And rest in peace to the OG, late great AWOL of the Black Monks. And 3-2.